Good evening. This is Liz Busquets, and today is October 15th, 2020. The board is having this special meeting to deal with some of the items that the board usually addresses during the meetings at the nationals. And since we are not having nationals this year, unfortunately, then we are having a series of meetings to deal with all the items and all the affiliate meetings and all that stuff. So, so this is what we're doing tonight. And present today are Denise, Gina, Jan, Jean, Judy, Rachel, Rick, Warren, Carol, and myself, Liz, and of course, Kala is also here. So the next item, the first item in our agenda tonight is just what we do every year, is what we call new director orientation, although that might be a misnomer, but it's an opportunity to present, the person who is now coming on to the board, which is Carol, and give her an opportunity also to ask any questions of the board that may help her or that she may have about what we do. And so that's what we're doing. So I'm going to give Carol the opportunity to introduce herself, and then she can ask us whatever she thinks she should ask us. Carol? Carol, are you there?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Yep, I can hear you now.
Oh, sorry. I was talking away. Okay. So, I'm happy to be coming on the board, and I really look forward to working in the upcoming year with everyone. It's been really helpful for me to be able to sit in on these meetings as newly elected, and to be able to start to get a feel for how things run and get caught up. So at this point, I don't really have any specific questions. If you guys have questions of me, I'm happy to discuss whatever you need to know.
Thanks, Carol. Anybody has any questions or comments for Carol? Well, I would just like to officially welcome you, Carol, to the board. We look forward to having you and working with you. This past election, Denise and I were also reelected, but you guys know us already, so no need to go beyond that, I don't think. So anyway, if there are no questions or comments for Carol.
Liz, this is Rachel. I have a comment.
Go ahead.
I'm always really glad when we have new people come onto the board, and you will give a fresh set of eyes, Carol, and there's things that you may see that those of us that have been there for a few years, we may have overlooked. So I really do appreciate you stepping up, and I look forward to the positive impact that you'll have on the board. Thank you so much, Carol.
Thank you.
Okay, I would also like to take the opportunity to thank Rachel for all the work that she has done on the board. I know we usually, and I'll probably do it again at the membership meeting, but I want to thank Rachel for all the work that she has done for ASCA during this past few years. She has handled some tough situations and with the system and all that. So we thank you for all your support and your work.
It has been my honor. Thank you, Liz.
All right. So let's go ahead and go to the next item. And the next item is one that we do at every spring meeting and at every nationals. and that is just to revisit the norms. And I hope that everybody had a chance to review them again. And I'm just going to go around, and so you guys, to basically state to go ahead and abide by the norms. Denise.
Well, I think, excuse me, I think that the norms are something that's just really important to a group of people that work together in a professional situation like we're trying to do. And so I am totally accepting of the norms in my activity on the board. Thank you.
Thanks, Denise. Gina?
Yes, I've read them and reread them, and I totally 100% agree with them and accept them. That's all I have. I think they're great. So thank you. That's all I have.
Thanks. Jen?
Well, I was on the board when they first got developed, and I still agree with them wholeheartedly, and look forward to the coming year. And thank Rachel for her time, and look forward to having Carol joining us. Thanks.
Thank you, Jen. Jean?
I 100% agree with the norms. Thank you.
Thank you. Judy?
Yep, I agree and accept the norms. Thank you.
Rachel?
Yes, ma'am, I do. And number 13 on the norms is be prepared for meetings. I will caution, because we quite often we get busy in life. It really does help if members are prepared for meetings. Thank you all.
Thanks, Rachel. Rick?
Yes, I agree and accept the norms. Thank you.
Warren?
Absolutely, I agree, and I'll say, as a welcome to Carol, I'm a very new member, and the board, this board has worked so well together. I'm really proud to be a part of it, and really looking forward to the years to come. And I think having the norms has really helped.
Thank you, Warren. Carol?
I have read and agree, accept the norms as they are, and I look forward to working with everybody this year.
Okay, thank you. And I also agree with the norms. And I always say that the secret to doing the job that we're supposed to be doing is being professional at all times. So I agree and will abide by the norms. All right. So now the next one, we will go to Warren for the 2021 budget.
Hi, I'm back again. Wow, we went through those last few a lot faster than the first couple. So great. I'm still alive and awake. So the budget, this is my first time going through it, and it was very interesting for me. I hope that what I've provided will be helpful, and I'm eager to see how we can really make it work for ASCA going forward to use the budget as I've provided. I'm sorry for the team. I provided it pretty late in the day. I know that doesn't give a whole lot of time. I'm more than happy. Rachel had one comment earlier about a specific item, and if other things come up, I think it's entirely reasonable to continue to take a little feedback. Over the next, I think we have till the 23rd officially, and we do have a meeting on the 22nd. So, if we have to make a little tweak, I'm more than happy to do that. In the meantime, I think I would like to take a minute to walk people through the basics of what I did in preparing this, and then take any questions you may have. So in the 3 pages that I sent, the so-called executive view just lays it out there pretty clear. I've been saying that the loss for 2020 is somewhere between 100 and 150. This particular projection comes in under that. A lot of that has to do with revenue. When I went and looked at it as compared to budget, as compared to 19, I really had a hard time seeing that our revenue would be less than the 776. The expenses, no question, they'll be at least 863. But so this is a better view. That's, again, it's a projection. It's certainly within the close enough to say somewhere around 100. That it's important though, because this projection is the baseline for moving forward to the 2020 budget. And as Rachel pointed out on the item for printing, if we use 2020 as a baseline, and 2020 is a very, very special year with COVID, if we use that as a baseline and 2021 is not the same, then we're going to end up with mistakes. And I think that's exactly the case with the printing. We want to revisit that. But in general, I think the broad strokes are there, and the broad strokes say we're going to have a loss next year. Now, it looks pretty small. I'm sure some people say, well, it's essentially break even. It's not. One of the things in this budget, and part of it is because I'm an accountant, or have an accounting background at least. I'm assuming that we will spend money to do work to upgrade our computer system. If we upgrade the computer system and prepare to use it for several years into the future, that doesn't actually count as an expense. We should capitalize that and put it on our balance sheet. I kind of referenced that in the previous section. Our balance sheet is heavy in cash and investments and light on property and equipment, and a computer system would count as property and equipment. We'd essentially shift that money, those dollars, from investments down to property and equipment. And I have made the assumption that computer expense will be about $100,000 less in 2020, not because we'll spend less money, but because we will capitalize that. So to be comparable, I'm saying 2021 is pretty much going to be just as bad as 2020. But in proper accounting, it's going to end up looking a whole lot better. So I wanted to make that very clear. I do think it's proper. I think it's the right thing to do. And I think this is the way it's going to roll out, notwithstanding changes like the printing and anything else. Again, if folks know more, you guys have way more experience than I do, don't hesitate. So that's the overall. Looking at the summary, it shows 19, 20, and 21 side by side. 20 is a projection. There's plenty of room for things to change even in the next few months. But that's where we are. The final page has a lot more detail, and this actually goes into how I move from partial year 20 to full year 20, and then how I move from the projection of 20 to the budget. There's some details in there. Happy to go through it with anybody who wants to. We could do that offline rather, if you really want to go a deep dive and don't want to take the committee's time. But I'd answer any questions at this point.
Any questions for Warren on the budget?
This is Rachel. The only thing I'll say is, other than that one line, I think it's as reasonable an estimate as we can have, Warren, given the circumstances that we faced this year. And because we really have no idea how next year is going to play out, it is literally just using the numbers that we've had from the past to try to project those forward. And in terms of capitalizing the computer expense, I truly believe that that is the right way to go. We did not do that last time, because you can amortize it and space it out for 7 years, 5 years, or whatever, and that will help ASCA in terms of the bottom line. So I'm hoping that that will be doable. Thank you so much, Warren, for your work.
Thanks, Rachel. My pleasure. Yeah, super. And if anybody else has a question.
were you ready to present this as a motion, Warren?
Well, I do think the point Rachel brought up earlier on the printing, I want to make an adjustment to that, and I think I would like to with that change, maybe do one final circle back to the business office and make sure that there's nothing that they're seeing now that we have this final view. So I would love. I know next week the meeting is scheduled for Stock Dog, but if we could throw a motion on at that point, and if anybody has any questions between now and next week, it really does seem entirely fair to me that the board could have a week to look at this. Both fair and helpful. Your eyes will help, So I'd like to ask if we could have the motion next week.
I'm totally okay with that. We could add the motion to next week's conference and just put it at the top so that then we can take care of that and then go on to the discussion of what the Stock Dog Committee sent us.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. So I'm sorry, Warren, but you're next again.
Okay. So
today's your day, Warren.
Today's my day. So computer system report. I think it was actually last week's meeting. But we talked about trying to revamp the committee, and I have not been able to make contact with Allie, mostly because I'm busy working on the budget and stuff. But I just haven't got through, and I do think we need to understand what we have for resources in terms of our volunteers. I would like to say from our strategic standpoint that we need to move forward with a system, but until I can present even a concept of how we would do it, and it will take hours from a project management standpoint, and so at this point I would like to not present the strategy. I'll spoiler alert, I really think the proposal from Inventive is a really good proposal. I'd like to work with them to make that work for us. Rachel pointed out that some of the things in that they've sort of already done, and so we probably can use a little negotiation and get a better contract. But regardless of that, I do think that's the road to go down. But until we have proper support lined up, I can't make that suggestion. So at this point, I do not have an item for strategy next year.
Okay, thanks, Warren. Then maybe what we need to do is to make sure that we get an outline of an announcement of the requirements that we want from people who apply to this committee, so that we have that support in place, say, but maybe in the next couple of months. So if we could put the announcement out sometime in November, give it 30 days or whatever, maybe we can go ahead and have a committee approved before we go for the holiday break, and then when we come back in January, we can tackle this.
I love that. That calendar suits me just fine, Liz.
Yeah. Anyone has any comments or questions for Warren on this? Nope. Okay. Thank you, Warren, so much for this and everything that has to do with the updates on the treasurer's report and the budget. That's just great. Thanks for all your work. So the next item is revision of the finals entry fees. I don't know if you guys want to talk a little bit about this before actually looking at what the Stock Dog Committee sent, but I'm just going to go around real quick and see what you guys want to do. So Denise?
I think that I think I'd like to look at revising those, because like you say, they are like that's printed, that the rates have been the same for several years, and expenses have gone up forward and forward. There's been several discussions on the members list, et cetera, and a lot of people who compete say that in other venues of competitions, that the finals are always much more expensive. I don't think they need to be huge expenses, but I do think that because of the expense that it does generate for ASCA, that we should consider raising them. So I don't know how much is something that people want to talk about, but I do think that that is on the horizon. Entry fees in every other venue have, or every other program have taken place in the last, every year the entry goes up. So I think that that was something that we need to definitely do. So that's just my opinion right now, and I'm anxious to hear what everybody else has to say. Thank you.
Thanks, Denise. Okay, Gina?
Yes, I do agree that they should be increased. I would like to see this item move to next week's agenda. So to give us at least time to review the Stock Dog Committee's presentation for their finals, but I do think all finals should be increased. But like I say, I'd like to have it moved to next week if at all possible. Thank you.
Thanks, Gina. Jan?
I also would like to wait till next week so we can review the Stock Dog. I would hope that I can help Warren, and I could maybe put together how much each of the income is from all the finals, and we can look at it. Maybe we need a scale, which was one of the recommendations. I'm not sure that it's viable that Obedience is going to be able to pay a higher number, but Stock maybe possibly can. I'm not sure that Agility wants to pay a higher number. So I think we really need to look at these numbers and spend a little time evaluating what it means, and make sure that we're still giving folks. I know when this all started, the idea was, you know, how could this be a part of ASCA? And I want to make sure that we're still giving back to people that use our program in the finals program, are getting a benefit out of it, and that we can showcase the Australian Shepherd. Thank you.
Thanks, Jan. Jean?
Yeah, I think I would like to wait until next week. Obviously, this is just a recurring item for nationals, but I think we have some good information and knowledge and things that we need to move forward with on this. And it doesn't need to be done like right this minute. We can give it some good attention and look at whether or not we need to raise entry fees across the board for all the programs, or maybe just some, or whatever. But next week would be good, and we could actually even continue the conversation later on, because we have a bit of time to make this happen in a proper manner. So thank you.
Thanks, Jean. Judy?
I agree. I think we need to talk about raising them. I think we could even go back to what they were before we dropped them. And that way people have already seen that, they've already paid it before. So it's not a huge increase, but again, it's something that, yes, we can agree we need to look at it, revisit it, and talk about it. Thank you.
Thanks, Judy. Rachel?
Basically what everyone else has said. I do believe that we need to increase the fees, especially for stock, since stock, of course, the cost is drastically more than any of the other programs. And I think we'll be better able to make those decisions by next week. Thanks.
Thanks, Rachel. Rick?
Kind of ditto what everybody else said. I think raising some fees is one of the line items for next week in the Stock Dogs proposal. So I think that would be a good time to address possibly all the different venues. That's all I got.
Thanks, Rick. Warren?
Yeah. I'm new. I've expressed this before. I'm a little ambivalent. The finals could be seen as a way where the club gives back. At the same time, right now, I just gave you the financial report and the budget, and we are under really significant stress, and revenue generating is really important. If we look at the $60 since 2014, if we just barely keep up with inflation, a 4% annual increase would put us up about 80. That doesn't seem unreasonable kind of increase to me. And someone else just mentioned, why don't we go back to the earlier number which was really designed to cover the cost, and that might be something to consider too. Do we want to try to cover the cost? I'm very much open to increasing the costs and maybe working out models to find out what the value of that is. I think what I just heard in this go round, and this was really helpful for me, and I hope members are listening. What I'm hearing loud and clear is that we are ready to raise the fees, and I will say I got member feedback on this, through the members list and then also direct, and it seems like there's an appetite for raising the fees. Obviously, everybody wants something cheaper, but we all know that it costs more than what we're getting, and the club right now is not in a situation to be giving a lot of stuff away. So very much in favor of the fees, very much in favor of waiting till next week when we find out what we want to do about stock.
Thanks, Warren. Carol?
Okay, so I'm happy to discuss this next week too. I do think, like Warren, when you just read the statement, it's been November of 2014 since there's been a change to the entry fee structure. I don't think that anybody realistically thinks that we're out of line to revisit this and to make an increase. So I also, like Warren, have had some feedback on the list and in person, and everybody, while we all would like to have everything, at a lesser cost, everybody realistically across the board that's talked to me, it's pretty much agreed that, increase in fees is logical. So I look forward to talking about this next week.
Okay, thank you. I think we have a consensus to put that in next week's agenda. All I have to say about this is that I agree in that we need to increase it. I think the question will be by how much, and me being the person who needs kind of like a visual on this, I'll probably have to play with it a little bit and see, looking at the finals budgets, how much of a difference certain increases will have to be to at least break even or close to it or whatever. But I agree, we're due for an increase. I mean, it's not something that we like to do, but this is a business, and we are under some degree of stress this year, and we don't know how long this is going to go for. So I think that this is a good thing. So anyway, we'll put it on the next week's agenda, and we'll discuss it. So again, please read this report from the SDC very carefully, so that we can have a very constructive discussion on all of this. So, okay, so the next item is the Lifetime Achievement Award. I'm not sure, we kind of like sort of talked about it a little bit under the liaison reports. I don't know if I guess I'm going to go around real quick and see what you guys believe that we should be doing about this. We talked about perhaps writing down the criteria, kind of like formalizing the procedure a little bit, and all of that. So I'm going to go around real quick, and this is the last item for the night. So let's just do it. Denise.
I think that the things that you just touched on are definitely right at the top of my list. I think there needs to be a criteria, a list of things that we look at for somebody that we're going to nominate for this. And I don't think that there's anything wrong with it being open to the general membership. And I think that there needs to be a formal protocol and procedure on how it is, how this person is selected. And so if you have an application, not maybe an application, but if you have a list of criteria, and then you can list them for each person, you can compare apples to apples that way. And I think it would make it a lot more equitable and a lot more interesting to find out, you know, who really has done an awful lot of things. I know each year I'm always excited to see who it is, and certainly in agreement that we have some outstanding members that have done so much for the Australian Shepherd and ASCA that they deserve recognition. So that's my position. I'd like to see the membership involved to nominate people, and the information they have about them, and a protocol within the committee on how to select the person. So that's my 2 cents. Thank you.
Thanks, Denise. Gina?
Yes, I'd like to first of all thank Peter for sending in those suggestions. I think there's some very valid suggestions there, and I think we should really move forward on them. The whole program needs to be, or it's not really a program, but the whole award needs to be revamped. And I agree with Denise, there needs to be, the membership needs to know what the criteria, at least minimum criteria, is and what we're looking for. And I think the selection, you know, perhaps there should be more input on the selection. I think this should take, you know, we should work on it over a little period of time and really get this program or award straightened out and clarified, basically. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thanks, Gina. Jan?
I really have nothing to add. I'm not sure if somebody mentioned nominations from the membership. And remember, some of the people that may not be active today are people that we need to be recognizing now, and possibly recognizing more people. But we need a system in place that we can follow for people that have been supportive to ASCA in many different type of jobs or areas, not just breeding. Thank you.
Thanks, Jan. Jean?
Yeah, I just agree with everything that's been said. You know, we need to move forward on this. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you. Judy?
Same thing. I agree with that. We need some way to get this awarded, some way for the membership to be able to nominate people and go through it, get it done. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you, Judy. Rachel?
Agreed. If the membership has the criteria, then they nominate the person that they feel meets that criteria. They send in the detailed about why they've nominated that person. And as per Peter Hellmeister's suggestion, that brings transparency more to the nomination and the choice. And the choice should rest with the board. The committee, the history committee, may put forth 2 to 3 suggestions, but the decision should rest with the board. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thanks, Rachel. Rick?
I pretty much agree with what everybody else said. I do agree with Rachel that the decision needs to lie with the board. I appreciate what the committee has done and the selections they've come up with in the past, but I feel like the membership feels like that maybe there has been some favoritism, and we need to, and do I believe that has come from the committee? No, I don't, because I believe everybody that they've chosen has been thoroughly qualified. But I do believe there is that perception in the membership. So I would definitely feel like this topic needs to be addressed. Thank you, Peter Hellmeister, for bringing this and voicing your opinion. But I think you're right. So I say we move forward on this. That's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you, Rick. Warren?
Sorry, Pat. I really like the concept of the award. I don't know the background behind it, but I have been involved in other organizations where nominations are made from the floor, from the membership, and then the board decides. It sounds like we're saying that's where we want to go. I do think a history committee, doing the same thing or taking the nominations from the floor makes perfect sense to me as well. If those folks have a good sense. And absolutely the note, and I think I saw it on the members list, but it resonates. These are the folks that have worked over the last 50 years, and they're not going to be around if we drag our feet on this. So I'm happy to move forward.
Thanks, Warren. Carol?
Yeah, I think this is important. I agree with what everybody else has said, and maybe the board could task the history committee with coming up with an application form that we could review and go from there. But it is certainly something that we need to get working on. And again, I too am thankful that Peter brought this to our attention. So that's all I have.
Thanks, Carol. So there are two ways I think that we could approach this. We could send basically a directive to the history committee to go ahead and work on a specific like form that lists all the criteria for the members who want to nominate people that they can fill in. And then, they'll see whether the person that they want to propose actually fits the criteria or not. Or the other thing would be to have like a subcommittee with 2 or 3 directors, and that would include the liaison to the history committee, and have them work together with the history committee. So, to bring forth whatever changes or whatever forms, whatever criteria, and then this can come to the board, and the board can take a look at it. So those are the 2 ways in which we could do that. I mean, we don't have to do that tonight, but maybe you guys should think about the options, or if somebody comes up with another option as to how to address this, so that then we can do what we have to do, whether it's motions or whatever, to address the issue of the Lifetime Achievement Award. So sorry. So excuse me.
Did we
okay,
lose
Liz?
it?
It sounded like there was.
Hold on, I'm sorry. I was drinking water and it went down the wrong pipe. So anyway. So I think that maybe if you guys agree, we can think about how we want to really address it, and then come up with either motions on the next voting cycle or something to take care of it. So I don't know if that's okay with you guys.
I think it's great. You okay?
I'm good.
I think so. Are you doing okay? You're not
Liz,
choking, are you?
don't choke to death. We can't do the Heimlich maneuver on the phone.
It's a virtual Heimlich.
Yeah, it's water, so it wouldn't work very well anyway. But, anyway, if that's what we agreed to do, then let's do that. And this was the last item in our agenda tonight. And so we will meet again to continue on next Thursday at 6 p.m. Central. So until then, we'll just put this meeting on hold until next week.
Great.
So,
Good night, everyone.
Thank
you
you.
very
Good
much.
night.
Good
Good
night.
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 Bye.